D consists of France, Austria, Poland, and the Netherlands, my friend. Four really interesting teams here to round it out. Why don't we start with France?
Yeah,
why don't we just start with France?
Sure.
A team that has gone to 3 international finals in the last 8 years, led by Didier Deschamps, who has been at this team now for 12 full years and has established himself as France's premier coach, ranked number 2 in the FIFA World Rankings after coming in second at the FIFA World Cup against Argentina. This team is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This team is ridiculous. I say it every time that we talk about French football. It is incredible, the level of talent and the level of depth that they have right now in this moment. You have names like Kylian Mbappé, Marcus Thuram, Kolo Muani, Antoine Griezmann, Olivier Giroud, Dembele, Tchouameni, Camavinga, Saliba, Konate, Theo Hernandez, Mike Maignan.
Keep going.
Just a few names. There's just a few names because I could keep going so far as to point out the exclusions that they had, which are even crazier with guys like Michael Olise not getting picked, and Nkunku not getting picked, Guendouzi, Disasi, Mateta from Crystal Palace, Moussa Diaby, not getting picked, Malo Gusto as well. The list just goes on for France, bro. And I even really touched on their bench, honestly. The list goes on. It truly is incredible what this team is capable of putting together when it comes to that starting 11. And it's going to be dope to see the one and only N'Golo Kante back as part of the squad.
Crazy that he got called up, but
what you mean crazy? You're not with it?
It's crazy, man, because he's just been gone for so long at club level, as far as actual impact, actual importance. But he's still a great player, and he's still playing good football in Saudi Arabia. So I actually do like that he got called up. Whether he makes a genuine playing time, I'm not so sure. But maybe we do see him. But I need to see France dramatically fail. Otherwise, they're title contenders, And the 3 out of 4 finals appearances in the last 4 major tournaments, that simple fact alone, I just can't go against that. France have been one of the best, the top international team for the last decade. And until they dramatically fail like Germany, like Spain once did, like Argentina, Brazil once did, I can't go against France. I can't. Their team is just too good. The base level of France, their starting 11, is better than 95% of all international teams. They don't even need to be in good form. They just need to show up for an international tournament, recognize the amount of talent that they have, and then they just pop off. That's what France does. It's what they've done for the last 10 to 12 years, and they're just in insanely good form. They did have a weird Euros last time out, but sandwiched in between that was 2 World Cup finals appearances, and one of them was actually winning the World Cup. So it's just like this France team is too damn good.
What happens? What happens if this time around they get kicked down the round 16 once again? What does that mean to you? 2 consecutive Euro round of 16 exits.
For me, it wouldn't mean much unless they have another bad tournament in the World Cup in 2026. I need to see consistent failure for me to be like, all right, this France team is actually on a genuine decline.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Looking at the team and the depth, it's just so elite that it leads me to this question that I love to know from the folks at home and then also from yourself. Because this team is so stacked, because it's so filled with so many great players, who would you list, who would you characterize as the most important player on this team? Is it as simple as picking the best player in Kylian Mbappé? Or is there a man behind the scenes that maybe should get a little bit more credit, like an Antoine Griezmann, for example, who shows up incredibly well for the French team at the international level?
Yeah, and this will most likely be Antoine Griezmann's last Euros. He might make the next one in 4 years' time, but he'll have a completely different role. He's still right at the end of his prime, so his skill level, his technique is still elite, and I think he can have a major impact at this tournament, but I got to go Mbappé, man. His appearances at the last 2 World Cups, they've just been too good, and he shows up every single time. And I mean, getting a hat trick, a historic hat trick in a World Cup final, only done one other time, that's something you just can't ignore. He shows up for when he wears this French jersey, and I think he's going to show up once again. He is France's most important player because let's say Griezmann's having a tough time in the midfield, like he did against Argentina. Let's not forget, Griezmann had a bad finals appearance in last time World Cup. It was Mbappe who ultimately said, all right, I'm going to take this shit into my own hands and get these these goals for my country. And this is the skill set that Mbappe possesses. For me, he's definitively France's best player.
I think that's a great shot. It has to be. I think there's guys like Olivier Giroud who also put in really good performances at the international level, but I would also say this is probably going to be his last Euros as well, man, as he's leaning towards the end of his career. But Mbappe, bro, I think there really is just 3, max 5 players in the world that can change a game by their own volition in the way that Kylian Mbappe does. I think names like Lionel Messi, Neymar at his peak were guys that could do it. I think Mbappe is part of that conversation now with the performance he's put in. He's a historic player in these international tournaments, and I'm excited to see him pop off at this Euros once again, given that the last Euros was a disappointment for himself. Let's go full throttle here now that he's signed with Real Madrid as well. His confidence, his momentum, everything's just going to be looking really good for him going into this tournament. So I think he's going to be incredible. Looking at the midfield and defense for France, what would you say is the weakest point for this team if you're looking to play devil's advocate or looking to take advantage of a weak point in this squad?
I guess who's going to be the center back partner alongside William Saliba is...
That's it? That's it, bro? That's a luxury, man.
It's a hell of a luxury because if you look at right back, you have Jules Koundé, and he's been phenomenal in that position at FC Barcelona. He's one of the best defending right backs. Okay, you're good there. Left back, if you play Theo Hernandez, he's one of the most offensive fullbacks in the world. You're good there. Saliba, well, we know how good he's been with Arsenal, man. He's been one of the best center backs in the Prem. The question really is, who's it going to be right next to him? Honestly, I don't know who Deschamps is going to pick. I mean, he could pick Konate. I think that would be the best shout. It would have been Upamecano, but I don't know, man.
Lived up to it, man.
Yeah, he hasn't lived up to it. No. I think he's had just honestly not a good season at Bayern. Yes, he's had good moments, but he has proven himself to be too mistake prone. If you play Upamecano, you are guaranteeing yourself for him to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So I just think like, all right, that'd be a little sketchy to play him. I don't know. I just think it's Saliba for sure, but then other than that, it gets a little weird.
I think if you have a healthy Konate, you gotta go with Konate, man. I think that'd be just a really good, solid, reliable center back pairing that you have right there for yourself. And this whole team, I think it really is tough to find a weak point, if I'm being honest. I have France going to the final.
Yeah.
I have them going to the final. I have that as their potential, and I could see them very, very easily lifting the title here at the 2024 Euros in Germany. I could see that, man. I really could. I think that's their potential, is tournament champions going into it. I don't need to be convinced after 2 or 3 games and see them like gain chemistry like how I do at Germany, for example. For France, I know right off the bat they are title contenders and they'll be one of the favorites to lift the trophy.
Yeah. Truly, form does not matter with this side. I agree with you. I'm applying the same pressure that I'm applying to England. This team is a title contending team. They should go all the way. Minimum, this team should make a semifinals appearance. What I'm really interested to see, though, is that this France team, for as much success as they've seen over these last 10 years, they have not won a Euros, right? They got excruciatingly close in 2016 against Portugal, but they've kind of underwhelmed, right, at 2020. So I think this batch of players recognize, hopefully, that, all right, let's get ourselves a Euros, man. I know Griezmann would love one. I know Mbappe would love one. I know Giroud would love one. Tchouaméni, Adrien Rabiot, all of these players would love to grab themselves a Euro title, man. And I'm hoping that they have a good tournament, but they have to. Their quality's too good. They're going to have a good tournament.
What was the last time they won? I think it was in 2000 with Zidane. I think it was the last time they lifted this tournament. So, yeah, I agree. Like they have to have this trophy as part of their trophy cabinet to really solidify the greatness and the heights of this French team that we've seen in the past 8 years. It's been so incredible. The World Cup truly represents that, but they do need that continental trophy of the Euros to be able to just maximize their trophy cabinet, for being honest. Let's have some fun with this now, bro. Who gets second place in this group? Who gets second place? We have a feisty Austrian side coached by Ralf Rangnick. You have a Polish team who I'm not even going to try to be optimistic about. They're getting fourth. And you have the Netherlands, a Dutch side led by Ronald Koeman. Who do you have getting second?
I might go with a little surprise here and say Austria gets second place, man.
What's the argument?
Here's the argument. They're in very good form right now, similar to Hungary, in my opinion, and also very similar to Hungary. what makes Austria so great is that they are a collective unit. It isn't one singular player that's a standout for Austria. It really is how the midfield and offensive line work with each other. This Austrian team is a club football team disguised as an international team, bro. Seriously. Dude, they run like a Bundesliga team. And they have a German coach in Ralf Rangnick, and he employs like a classic Bundesliga press, and they work it to perfection. In their last friendly against Turkey, 8 out of the 11 starters all played in the Bundesliga. Bro. So they really do emulate that kind of club German style of football. And the thing is, though, is that it works. This is not a team of stars. This is a team of players who know their exact role. And when you look at the quality, well, it's Bundesliga quality, man, which is, top 3 league in the world. So we're not messing around here when we're talking about Austria. I'm really excited to see this team kind of pop off here. They showed good promise 3 years ago at the Euros. I think that was the beginning of this Austrian side kind of forming themselves to be a good threat in Europe. And dude, since then, since they got Ralf Rangnick, they've not stopped progressing their level of play. I'm very impressed by what I see and how they play and how they approach every single game. They have a really free-flowing offense because they get the ball early, high up with that press, and then from there, they just send it out to the wings, and all of the midfielders join in on the attack. So there's not really one standout guy that's getting all the goals. They're spreading the wealth, but it's because of the system that Ralf Rangnick employs with his Austrian side. It's brilliant to watch.
Ralf Rangnick joining this team a few years back, 20 matches coaching, 12 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses, a really solid record there. Ranked number 25 in FIFA's rankings and finished second in qualifying for the Euros behind Belgium. You got guys like Gregoritsch, Arnautovic, Konrad Laimer, Marcel Sabitzer, Seewald, Baumgartner, Kevin Danso. Really good guys here. I actually think in comparison to Hungary, they have better individual quality, but they play just as well as a team. And I could honestly almost copy and paste my Hungary analysis and put it for Austria, bro, because I feel such a similar energy behind both these teams. I swear, both these teams would have done damage at the World Cup if it was just a year later. It was in 2023. Both of them, bro. Both. And it's funny how we have 2 very parallel stories happening at the same time in Europe. 1 loss in their last 14 games. The only thing that worries me upon doing my research, the only thing that stood out to me as a potential red flag is seeing the Austrians comment on a couple of absences they have due to injury.
Oh, and this is massive, actually. If I could mention one, please. The biggest miss is Xaver. He is the biggest miss by far because he was the tempo setter. He set the rhythm for the midfield press for this Austrian side. He started everything. He's box to box. He's physical, but he also possesses really good handles on the ball. He did everything from a defensive and offensive midfield perspective. Fuck. And he's out for this Euros. He's completely out.
It's like an orchestra without their conductor.
It is,
man.
bro. They don't have their engine anymore.
I don't know what beat to follow, bro. I'm worried now.
The good news is as I alluded to before, this team is more than just one player. It really is the individuals coming together that makes Austria so powerful because Seewald and Konrad Laimer have been immense alongside Schlager. It hasn't just been Schlager, but it will suck knowing that your leader in midfield is gone. But I do trust Konrad Laimer and Seewald to take up that workload. I trust them. And then who comes in? Well, you could put Sabitzer in that box-to-box role. He's very smart. He obviously got himself to a Champions League final.
That's all he did. So.
Exactly. So I truly believe he can handle this pressure. It's just obviously Schlager was better at it. Yeah. So it is a downgrade, but I trust this Austrian midfield to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I saw Schlager get described as the embodiment of Ralf Rangnick's ideas.
Damn, yeah. No, yeah.
That hurts me. That saddens me a little bit because I think I saw that the injury just happened as well.
I know,
so
bro.
It feels like this could have been avoided, or we're right on the precipice of a really special, fully healthy side here, and we won't have Schlager joining the team.
Sucks.
And with him as well, and joining his absence will be David Alaba, who just won't be fit enough to see this tournament out after being gone for most of the season this year as well for Real Madrid. That's unfortunate because there was a time where Alaba was clearly the highest quality player for Austria, playing at Bayern Munich and now Real Madrid, but he won't be here to lead that back line. I think that's also a bit of a loss.
Yeah, it's a big loss. He would have brought so much experience, just like Pepe did at the World Cup for Portugal. It's a massive miss for Austria. I'd say the only good twist you could put on it is that Alaba has been out for a while. So I think the coach and the players have kind of already known that he wouldn't be here. It would have been nice to have him, but I think they're more prepared for that loss over Schlagers.
It just makes me a little sad, bro, because Alaba, I remember, was part of like when he was a youngster coming up, playing with Bayern Munich. He was like the promising talent for Austria. And when you looked at it, they really didn't have anybody else on that team besides Arnautovic in his prime, I believe. Yeah. And I remember that team was pretty whack, pretty weak. But, you know, now he's in his prime age. He's in his best shape. And now he's got like the best Austrian team surrounding him. And now he won't be able to join them. And so that's just unfortunate because I think he's deserving of a team like the one that he has right now. Hopefully he can be here for the 2026 World Cup and get back to health. And I hope that is what's going to end up happening. But for this tournament specifically, it just does feel like a big miss in terms of his narrative because I feel like he's always wanted to have a team like this built around him for his national squad. And now he just won't be able to join them.
Damn, that's depressing.
That's a little sad, man. This one makes me sad, man. This one makes me sad.
Dude, you're right. Like, for the longest time, I only knew of two Austrians, Alaba and Arnautovic. Truly. Wow. Yeah, but, you know, now we've got Florian Grilic. We have Christoph Baumgartner, players going off in the Bundesliga. So it's looking so much brighter for Austria. But, yeah, hopefully Alaba can make the World Cup squad at least.
Question for the folks. Will injuries hold Austria back, or will they be able to prevail? Let us know in the comment section down below. I'm stuck, man. I'm stuck. I don't know if I can put them second. I don't know if I can put them third. Let's get through our Netherlands-Dutch discussion, and then I can make my pick. But Austria is right there for sure.
Yeah.
Right there. Let's talk about the Netherlands, coached by Ronald Koeman, ranked number 7 in FIFA's rankings right now, and finished second in Euros qualification behind the one and only France, who is in this group, and is a team that they could not defeat in 2 separate bouts. You got guys like Memphis Depay, Gravenberch, Jeremy Frimpong, Frankie de Jong, Gakpo, Xavi Simons, and then it gets really fun when you look at the defense. De Vrij, Nathan Ake, De Ligt, Van de Ven from Tottenham, and now Van Dijk. Before we get into any deep analysis, is this the best defense in Europe? Because we just spoke about France's being very, very good. Does the Netherlands have a better defense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, from an individual perspective, I think the Netherlands boast the most star center backs at the Euros. Dude. It's kind of nuts, bro. I mean, again, Nathan Ake, Stefan de Vrij, Virgil van Dijk, Mickey van de Ven, who just had an incredible season at Tottenham. Like, those are 4 world-class center backs, and only 2 or 3 of them can play. That's the crazy part.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it's up there, bro. I think it's one of the best ones in Europe for sure. Maybe the goalkeeper holds him back a little bit.
Yeah, the goalkeeping situation is really interesting because remember at the World Cup they brought a guy who had like just made his debut essentially. Sillison's like obviously no longer part of this Dutch squad as he's now up there in age. So yeah, the goalkeeping situation is kind of wide open. So if you're Dutch, man, and you're a goalkeeper, you could maybe find yourself into the 11, bro.
You got a great chance. You got a great defense in front of you. Since the World Cup ended, the Netherlands have lost to Germany, France, Italy, and Croatia. That's my biggest thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can they win 6 out of 7 games in this tournament in order to lift the trophy? I get worried because when you look at how they match up against elite squads, they seem to struggle, bro. And that's really surprising given the talent and the names on paper. But I think it's what makes this Netherlands team, this Dutch team, a little weird to assess because you can speak super highly about their defense. You can even speak really highly about their midfield. Offensively, I think the same questions remain as we had going into the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Can you really rely on Cody Gakpo, Memphis Depay once again? The rise of Xavi Simons might have an impact on this team.
It might.
Daniel Malin is also playing really good football. Weghorst is on this team and Bergwijn too. Are these guys enough to match the level of the midfield and defense to really elevate this team against top teams in Europe? That's where I get a little questionable because so far, I don't think we've seen that.
The thing is I think their offense is actually decent. Like, obviously more than decent. If you have a front 2 of, let's say, Memphis Depay and Cody Gakpo, you could also go Memphis Depay and Weghorst if you want something a little bit more direct. Or if you want to get creative, you could go Memphis Depay and Xavi Simons, or you pair Xavi Simons with somebody. There's actually a lot of different combinations that Koeman can go with. He has not cemented a pairing yet. He keeps rotating every single game. But I think that's a good thing because you could just rotate these 5 players in and out for the entire tournament, and I actually think it'll keep their offense very fresh because each one of those players has a completely different style of attack. And then underneath that, you have Thierry Reinders, who has had an excellent season at AC Milan this year. He had a really good season the year prior when he went all the way to the Conference League semifinals with AZ Alkmaar. This is one of the more silky attacking midfielders, and he's making a name for himself as we speak. I think this is going to be a really good opportunity for him to show himself on a global stage. So offensively, I'm actually not too worried about the Dutch. And when you look at the wingbacks, I mean, it's Denzel Dumfries, one of the best. He's been one of the best wingbacks in Italy on that right-hand side. Or, dude, you could play Frimpong. I think that's insane depth.
Yeah.
Being able to have both of those guys, or you play Dumfries and Frimpong in a wing position, and you just have double overload from an attacking perspective on that right-hand side. And then on the left, you have Daley Blind, the tried and true trusty old man in Daley Blind. He does not step a foot wrong, doing incredible things with Girona this year. So going forward, I'm actually not worried about the Dutch. They've proven that they can score against the world's best. It's contradictory because it's their defense that's the problem.
How's
it's
that?
the defense. They lead goals, bro. Every single game that they play, they concede at least 1 or 2. And clean sheets just doesn't exist with this Dutch side. And I think it makes sense because I don't know if it's so much the defense's fault, but I think it's the midfield, man. If you look at the 2 midfielders that is probably going to be, because you have a very attacking Thierry Reinders as the attacking midfielder, then all that's left is Frankie de Jong, not known for his defense, right? If he's healthy. And then there's really no one else to put alongside Frankie de Jong. I don't think Koeman knows who he's going to put there either. It could have been Darun, but he's out, unfortunately. Really sucks because he had such a good season with Atalanta, and he's been good there for a couple years now. But it's that defensive midfield for the Netherlands, they just don't provide enough coverage for the back line. So it's very silky. It's very entertaining when the Dutch go forward, at least from a creative perspective, but it leaves holes at the back. And it doesn't matter how good Van Dijk, Ake are, they can't cover that much space. And I think just the communication breaks down, and if Dumfries and Daley Blind are up like they usually are, it's like a 3-on-3 situation at times. So I think that's where the Netherlands just get kind of done in, is it's in transition. When they lose the ball and they have too many men committed forward, they are very, very vulnerable. But I think it's what makes Dutch games really fun to watch, man.
They're going to be really fun.
It's really fun to watch, yeah.
Dutch football is a must-watch this tournament, for sure. I'm with you because of how open they might be at times or how forward-thinking they are as well. But it's that exactly that makes me a little worried about them because when I look at their record against top teams, I already mentioned it, losses to Germany, to France twice in their group, Italy, Croatia. I think there's a clear gap between the Netherlands and the top teams in Europe. I see them as a second-tier team right now, man. I really do. And it's unfortunate because they have the names on paper to be much better than that. But whether it's on Koeman, whether it's on the chemistry, the dynamic that exists within this team, I don't think it's enough to be able to lift the Euros trophy this year. And so I ultimately don't have them as a contender, but I do have them getting out of this group in second place. I'm going to say that much.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I could say so many negative things about the Netherlands, but they're paradoxical because I honestly think this team could make a deep run. I label them as basically dark horses of this tournament. I don't see them as title contenders. But if they make a nice quarterfinals appearance and get very close to semis, I'll be like, yeah, this is the quality that the Netherlands possess. We saw it at the World Cup. Like, this is largely the same team that went there a year and a half ago, and they were a penalty shootout away from beating Argentina, right? So this Dutch side can beat anybody. They just don't show that they can often. And I think that's why it's frustrating if you're probably a Dutch fan. But I think those negative points that we critiqued is why I have an organized team like Austria taking advantage of them in this group stage. So I'm going to go Austria second, but Netherlands very, very close behind them in third. And I would have the Netherlands definitively qualifying as a third place team.
I think that match will be really close. That Netherlands-Austria match is going to be a banger, bro. It's going to be incredible to see.
Yeah.
I do think the injury of Schlager will impact this team a little bit and will get them the third place spot. Netherlands gets second, but interchangeable for me. I'll take any opinion here. But folks, let me know, what do you think about this Dutch side? Do you trust them more than we do, or are you as questionable of them as we are? I got Netherlands in second, you got them in third, meaning that in fourth place we have the mighty we have Poland finishing this group off. You have the floor, because I don't want to talk about this team, bro.
Polski, man. What is there to say? They squeaked into this tournament. They had to go via the playoff route, and they weren't even in a tough group, by the way. Let's make that double clear.
Third, bro. They got third in that group,
man. And they played Estonia. They got, Estonia. What a gift, by the way. What a gift to get Estonia. You got through that match. And then 0-0 in a very cagey match against the Welsh team. And it goes to penalties, right? So Poland barely get their asses into this tournament. But hey, it's another major tournament for this Polish side. I just see this team as bang average, man. I'm talking the most average team you could ever witness in a European tournament. This is Poland, bro. They've been average for a couple years. I used to like this Poland team. I did, maybe 4 years ago, because they have really good players. You have Lewandowski, you have Swiderski playing at a decent level. You still have Piotr Zielinski, who is a maestro in the midfield. And there's some players that aren't there anymore, like Kamil Glik, the center back from Monaco, is no longer in the squad, Krychowiak. And so a lot of these veteran players just are no longer here for Poland. But, there's still some genuine quality here. Do not get me wrong. But when you see this Polish team play, game in, game out, for the last 4 years, man, they've been consistently average. And what does that mean? That means they can't compete against the second or first tier of European teams. So if you're expecting this Polish team to do anything above just get a draw, maybe get one win, but probably not in this group, then you're delusional.
Was qualifying for the Euros low-key like a curse? Kind of something negative that ultimately stunts their growth? Because the perspective I'm seeing from a lot of Polish fans is they almost wish they hadn't qualified, because it delays the rebuilding period for this team, if there's anything to build off of in that sense.
Damn, dude, I think it is.
Kind of Mexico-esque.
I think it's bad that Poland made this tournament. When they qualified, I was like, damn it, I wish the Euros was only 23 teams.
No.
Yeah. I wish they had a group of 3. I wish they had one group of 3, because
just for the sake of not having to watch Polish football for 90 minutes.
That's exactly what I'm saying. 3 times, that's work, bro. That's work. That's Poland shouldn't be here. What will be interesting, though, let's look at the fun narratives at least. Lewandowski has to be his last Euros, right? Mm-hmm. This has to be it. And honestly, he finished the last 6 months at Barcelona. He looked good. He actually looked really good. First 6 months, pretty bad, but these last 6 months in the calendar year of 2024, Lewandowski honestly looked like his old self. He was retrieving the ball with his back to goal, but then he was always finding Rafinha, always finding Joao Felix really cleverly, and then he would make these really good runs into the box, get on the ends of these really good balls, and finish really well. So Lewandowski still is a top quality striker. Obviously, he just doesn't have the pace anymore, or maybe the strength, but it's all still there, bro. It's all still in his head. So that'll be really interesting to see. But, I mean, as we've seen, though, the rest of the Polish supporting cast they just can't do it, man. They try. I'm not saying that they don't try, but I just think the way that they set up, it's just they pass it too slow. They look a little lost at times. They used to rely on just giving the ball to Lewandowski. I don't think it's going to work anymore, because he just doesn't have the pace. I don't know what they're going to do. I just know it's going to be nothing greater than average.
That's my thing, though, with even looking at the fun narratives for Poland. Like, dude, I've been hearing about this Levi narrative for 10 years now, about the full Polish team not being enough to to assist him, to feed him, to put him in promising positions. It's to the point now where I think Leva, once that summertime comes, it feels like he's going to boot camp. Like, he's miserable.
Dude,
he's like wishing he was in Malta relaxing instead of having to play for the Polish national team, because the prospect of this team finally giving him what he ultimately wants offensively, I just don't think it's going to end up happening, man. And it's kind of depressing because this is one of the greatest strikers we've ever seen in modern football, not being able to fully thrive at the international level the way that he deserves. Yeah. Because once Poland makes it to a major tournament, bro, it truly does feel like it's just the same old result in the same damn way. So if I'm Leva, man, honestly, I wonder how he truly is feeling deep down inside, behind the scenes. Is he even happy to be here, or is he wishing that he was vacationing in Cancun?
Dude, honestly, great point, because there was a time when I got excited about Poland because they had players like Zalewski and Matty Cash coming through the ranks, and I got duped. I got duped, man, because Zalewski's he's dropped off, honestly. He used to be a big starter for Roma. Now he's maybe a rotational player. Like, he's just not getting the same minutes that he once was, and you see it on the pitch. He's so inconsistent, man. And then Matty Cash, maybe I can be less harsh on him because he's just been a little injury prone this season. Hopefully he'll be healthy, but even if he is, I just don't know if he'll be 100%. So it's just like, there's been so many players that have come and gone through Poland to try and help Lewandowski, but they've all failed. And I think the same thing will happen this year.
I have France finishing in first, the Netherlands in second, Austria third. You have Austria in second, Netherlands in third. I'm happy with either one, honestly.
Me too.
If Austria goes through in second, bro, I'm just as excited. So don't get me wrong there. Poland in fourth. Folks, let us know, how do you see Group D panning out at the Euros 2024?